Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. I know it gets boring, this, but come on, do please like and subscribe. It's down there, yeah? You just click the box, yeah? And do subscribe. I'm going to talk today about a shithouse called Mick Philpot, who, according to a report in The Sun newspaper, sent to me very kindly by Larry the Goat Herd, who is currently imprisoned at HMP Wakefield. He's serving a long term of imprisonment for the manslaughter of his children. Let me tell you the names of his children: Jade, aged 10, John, aged 9, Jack, 8, Jesse, aged 6, Jaden, aged 5, and Dwayne, aged 13. Burnt them to death in his house. Now, he deliberately did this. He had an idea that he was going to get himself a bigger house, and so he burnt the place down, and unfortunately for him, it wasn't just a limited fire, it absolutely became an inferno and killed the children. Mick Philpot was subsequently found guilty, I believe, of Manchester. He's the father, this guy, this shithouse, of 17 children. So he's managed to make his life without actually going to work and producing 17 offspring. Mind you, he's killed a few now, hasn't he? How sadly disgraceful and disgusting that is. But at HMP Wakefield, otherwise known as Monster Mansion, yeah, he received a severe beating. He was attacked and beaten in his cell recently, and received a great number of injuries, including great lumps that appeared on his head after he'd been kicked round the floor a bit. So he's been treated at the hospital inside HMP Wakefield. He wasn't taken to external, so he couldn't have been injured that badly, could he? But he was severely beaten inside the prison, and according to The Sun, he is scheduled for release in 2027. And he was imprisoned in 2017, so only you're going to have to serve 10 years, so he must have got 20 years for manslaughter, because he would have made some excuse, in mitigation, that he didn't intend to kill the children. No doubt he didn't, but he did anyway. It's not the first case like this that I've encountered. When I was at Strangeways, running the hospital ward at HMP Strangeways, which was Strangeways in the time before it became HMP Manchester. I was the hospital officer in charge of the ward in the prison, and onto the ward came one day a very ineffectual, intellectually challenged, rather small man, aged about 45, who had done a similar trick to the shithouse Mick Philpot, in that he himself had burnt his house down, and his children were in Booth Hall Hospital suffering from like 80-degree burns, 80% burns, third-degree burns, seriously injured. He came onto the ward, and he wasn't attacked because he was quite obviously a total social inadequate, and he spent his time in his bed. He was quite badly burned himself because he had made an attempt to rescue the children. So that's why he was on the hospital ward, and I was treating his wounds, dressing them on a daily basis, and got to speaking with this man, and he was extremely emotionally upset about this because he didn't intend to do it. What had happened was that his neighbours had been intimidating him because he was an inadequate, and this being England, you're slightly different in any way, you're going to get it, and he was getting it from his neighbours. He complained to the council that he didn't feel that he was safe in the accommodation because he lived in a council house in Cheetham Hill, Manchester, and he didn't feel safe. And to illustrate the fact that he wasn't safe, he got a tin of petrol and poured it through his own front door. What kind of a genius idea was that? And set it afire. Unfortunately for this particularly inadequate individual, the week before, the council had repainted the entire interior of his accommodation, and the paint was on the banisters and on all the walls was still emitting fumes, and was therefore very rapidly ignited when he torched the petrol, which turned the place into a raging inferno within a minute or two, trapping his children in the bedrooms upstairs. He made an attempt, a half-hearted attempt, I suspect, but he managed to get himself quite seriously burnt. But his children were seriously injured, and you couldn't get much sense out of him. But I got that. He told me that story. And subsequently, I spoke to the hospital. The children were in Booth Hall Hospital at Harper Hay in Manchester. So I contacted the hospital and asked how the children were, and they said extremely seriously ill in intensive care. And I asked if it was possible for me to get this particular prisoner to visit his children, because he was deeply regretful of this. I spoke to the chief medical officer, and he agreed that we could arrange a visit, and I took him. I didn't handcuff him. I didn't need to. He wasn't going to escape. And took him in to see his children, and it was the most horrific experience I'd had in quite a while, actually. The children were like they looked like they were mummified. They were wrapped in bandages with tubes everywhere, and he was a terrible wreck. He was deeply regretful, but we managed to get him through that visit, and I spoke to the senior nurse at the hospital, and she said he won't be coming again because we expect the children to die in the next 24 hours. Well, they did, and it was my duty to actually inform him that his children had died. So these things are tragic. They do happen, and some people are regretful. That man was. He will never get over it. I don't suspect he's alive now. But in HMP Wakefield, Mick Philpot, who is considered to be by the authorities to be a disturbingly dangerous individual who has no moral compass. I tell you, the idea that being a prison officer is all turning keys, well, it didn't used to be. When I was there, it was an actual job, and as a hospital officer, you had to deal with all aspects of that. So that's today's little story, and what have we got now? Yes, folks, you know what we've got. Yeah, we've got the goat. Yep. So the goat knows what's coming. That's the song, dinger. So now you know what's coming. But I've got a request here, a request that came through 2 days ago, I believe it was. They want me to sing a song that was part of a musical featuring Harry Seacombe. It was on the stage, I believe it was at the London Palladium, that was Pickwick. And this is a song from Pickwick that Harry Seacombe recorded. And Harry Seacombe had a far better voice than me, so don't expect that you're going to get the full Monty here. But I'll give it a go. This is If I Ruled the World. Yeah, are we ready? Sitting comfortably. By the time I finish singing this, you'll wish Donald Trump ruled the world. He probably thinks he does, doesn't he? The big, soft, ugly, orange bastard. If I rule the world, every day would be the first day of spring. Every heart would have a new song to sing, and we'd sing of the joy every morning would bring. If I rule the world, every man would say, as free as a bird, every voice would be a voice to be heard. Take my word, we would treasure each day that occurred. My world would be a beautiful place where we would weave such wonderful dreams. My world would wear a smile on its face, like the man in the moon has when the moon beams. If I rule the world, every man would say the world was his friend. There'd be happiness that no man would end. No, my friend, not if I ruled the world. Every head would be held up high. There'd be sunshine in everyone's sky. If the day ever dawned when I ruled the world. I cocked that up good and proper, didn't I? But what to expect? This is John G. Sutton, not Pavarotti, as you probably noticed. Tales from the Jails.